Have you ever noticed how people only start to value you the moment you disappear? Not when you over-explain, not when you try too hard, not when you bend over backward to prove your worth, but when you simply stop showing up. It's strange, isn't it? How absence suddenly makes you more magnetic than presence ever did. How silence can hold more power than 1,000 words. The empty space you leave behind becomes louder than any excuse you could offer. What if I told you this wasn't just coincidence? What if I told you that history, psychology, and even Machiavelli himself teach us that disappearing, stepping back, is one of the most potent ways to demand respect? Because respect isn't given to those who chase it. It's earned by those who guard it fiercely. Most people think that the key to connection is being available, responding quickly, explaining often, always giving more. But that's a trap. The more accessible you are, the less you're valued. The more you over-explain, the more your worth is diluted. Have you ever noticed that when you stop responding immediately, or stop chasing the conversation, the dynamic shifts? Suddenly, the people who took you for granted start wondering where you went. Suddenly, you become a mystery. Suddenly, your silence screams louder than any argument or apology ever could. Niccolò Machiavelli, the master of power and strategy, understood this deeply. He wasn't just talking about rulers and kingdoms, he was talking about human nature. He knew that sometimes the greatest power comes not from dominating the scene, but from stepping away and letting the void speak for you. Disappear, not to punish, but to protect. Disappear, not to manipulate, but to realign. Disappear, not to lose, but to find your own value. This is the beginning of a journey most never dare to take. The path away from being endlessly available and toward being unapologetically sovereign. If this makes you pause, if it cracks open something inside you, then stay with me, because what comes next will change how you see your presence, your power, and your peace. What if you stopped being the first to text? What if you stopped explaining your feelings so they'd understand? What if you stopped reacting to every slight, every need, every demand? Would they chase you, or would they just let you go? Think about your last conversation that felt one-sided, the one where you carried the weight, bending over backwards to keep the peace or keep them interested. How exhausting was it to be the one always available, always responding, always trying? And when you stopped just for a moment, did you feel the sudden emptiness, that strange silence that followed? That space where they suddenly had to decide what to do without you pushing? It's uncomfortable because it feels like losing control. But what if losing that control is the first step to gaining it back? Have you ever felt invisible when you were constantly trying to be seen? That paradox where the more you give, the less you get in return. What if the respect you crave is not found in endless availability, but in the deliberate act of stepping away? Not because you don't care, not because you're punishing anyone, but because you're protecting the part of you that's been ignored for too long. Imagine what would happen if you reclaimed your time and energy, no longer bending to fill their voids. Would they notice, or would they continue taking you for granted? This isn't about being cold or indifferent. It's about becoming so rooted in your worth that you don't need to prove it. Because when you stop reacting, when you stop chasing, you send a clear message. I am not here for your convenience, I am here for my own peace. Ask yourself honestly, what would happen if you started living from that place? Would your relationships survive? Would they shift? Or would they crumble under the weight of your absence? The truth is, this is where your power starts, not in trying to control others, but in controlling yourself. If you feel this deep down, comment, I choose myself. Let me know you're here, ready to reclaim your energy and your respect. Most of us have been taught that being available means being kind, and that responsiveness equals caring. That quick replies and constant explanations show respect and love. But what if this is actually the trap? The truth is, people don't control you with words. They control you with your own reactions, your need to explain, your guilt for saying no, your urge to apologize when you didn't do anything wrong, your over-explaining, your quick replies, your endless reassurance. They're not signs of strength. They're the leash keeping you tethered to others' expectations. Think about it. When you bend over backward to make others comfortable, who's really benefiting? It's not you. You're giving away your power in the hope they won't leave. Machiavelli knew this well. He understood that real control comes from managing your presence, not your words. That sometimes silence is the most powerful statement you can make. Being constantly available is not kindness, it's self-erasure. It trains people to expect you on demand, to take your energy as theirs. Reframe this. Your absence is not abandonment, it's a boundary. Your silence is not coldness, it's strength. You are not responsible for how others interpret your quietness, only for protecting your own peace. The moment you stop reacting, you reclaim the leash. The moment you stop explaining, you disrupt the pattern. This isn't about manipulation, it's about self-respect. By disappearing, you are showing the world that your time and energy are precious, that you are not an open book for everyone to read at will. This shift breaks the cycle of overgiving and under-receiving. It creates space for respect to grow. Because respect can only flourish where boundaries exist. If you've ever felt drained by constant giving, drained by people who take but never give back, it's time to see that your reactions are what keep the cycle spinning. You can choose to step off the hamster wheel. If this truth hits you, type, "I see the leash" below and start waking up to your power. This is why healing hurts. Because the moment you stop overgiving, you see who was only there for the version of you that bled quietly. Remember the last time you stopped texting first? The thread died. Silence swallowed the conversation whole. No one chased, no one noticed. Or the moment you stopped apologizing for things that weren't your fault. The silence grew louder than any excuse you ever offered. That's not love leaving. That's illusion collapsing, the mask falling away. It's the hardest truth to face. It's messy and raw. It pulls at everything you thought you knew about love and loyalty. But it also makes space for something real, for respect, for presence, for peace. If this cracked something open inside you, type, "I feel this" in the comments. For the version of you that's waking up and refusing to bleed quietly anymore. This moment, this silence, is your first step toward reclaiming your power, toward being whole again. You're not alone in this. We're here, walking through the fire together. If this is hitting home, drop a comment, even just "I choose myself." Let me know you're here, reclaiming your peace, because you're not alone. We're not alone. We're healing, one step at a time. This is more than just a video. It's a movement, a declaration that your energy is sacred and your peace is non-negotiable. Every time you engage with this message, you're sending a signal to yourself and to the world that you are ready to stop being predictable, that you are ready to stop overgiving to those who don't value you, that you are ready to stop disappearing for everyone else but yourself. Comment below, "I choose myself," if you're ready to reclaim your time, your worth, and your respect. This simple phrase is your shield, your banner, your first step on the path of sovereignty. And if you're watching this, you're already part of something bigger. Together we rise, together we protect our energy fiercely. There is power in community, but it starts with individual commitment. So, what's your choice? Say it out loud or type it here. "I choose myself." This is where your power begins. Niccolò Machiavelli once said, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." What does this mean for you? It means that the world is ever-changing, and relying on others' promises or constant presence is often a trap. Sometimes, the only way to protect yourself is to break old patterns and expectations, starting with how you show up. Carl Jung adds another layer. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves. This insight reveals that the frustrations you feel, when people don't meet your expectations, when you overgive and get nothing back, are mirrors reflecting your own unhealed wounds. Every time you say yes out of fear, every time you over-explain or apologize unnecessarily, you bleed energy from places inside you that need healing. Machiavelli's teachings remind us that power isn't about control over others, but mastery over yourself. The courage to disappear, to hold your boundaries firm, is a form of sovereignty. When you step back, you're not withdrawing, you're recalibrating. You're telling yourself and the world that your time and energy are valuable commodities. This is not selfishness, it's wisdom. By understanding these psychological truths, you begin to see the game beneath the surface. the emotional patterns and manipulations that keep you trapped. The real power lies in recognizing these forces and choosing not to feed them with your reactions. If you're ready to stop leaking energy to unworthy demands, type, "I see my power" below. This is your invitation to step into a deeper awareness of yourself and your worth. Every time you say yes out of fear, you abandon yourself. It's not generosity, it's self-erasure. Think about those moments you've stretched beyond your limits, agreeing to things you didn't want to do just to avoid conflict or disappointment. Each one chipped away at your energy, your peace, your sense of self. Texts unanswered that you felt obligated to reply to, calls taken when you needed rest, invitations accepted because you didn't want to be seen as rude. All these small leaks add up, draining you silently and invisibly. The emotional cost is heavy but often unseen until you hit a wall: burnout, resentment, exhaustion. You may not even realize how much you're giving away until you start to disappear and notice the chaos that follows. That chaos isn't random. It's the system trying to pull you back in, to keep you predictable and available. But every time you choose yourself over fear, every time you say no instead of yes, you patch those leaks. You build walls that protect your energy rather than letting it flow freely to those who don't deserve it. This isn't about cutting people off. It's about choosing where your energy goes. Machiavelli understood that power is the art of control, and control starts with controlling your own resources, including your emotional energy. If you've ever felt exhausted from people-pleasing, from endless explanations, from guilt-driven yeses, this is your wake-up call. You can stop the leaks. If you feel ready, comment, "I protect my energy," and start owning your boundaries today. Your energy is sacred. Don't let it be stolen by the predictable games of others. The more emotionally available you are, the easier it is to become someone else's emotional mirror. Have you noticed how some people seem to feed off your energy, your reactions, your presence? They take and take without giving back. They project their own issues onto you and expect you to absorb them without question. This is projection in action, an unconscious way people offload their shadows onto others. Machiavelli understood that those who seek to control you don't always do so with direct force. Sometimes they use emotional manipulation, making you predictable, making you overextend yourself so they can benefit. When you are always available, always reacting, you become their puppet. The key to breaking free is to step away from this dynamic. Step away and watch the chaos return to its sender. When you stop being the emotional dumping ground, the tension shifts. The pressure to perform, to explain, to appease fades. This isn't about punishment, it's about protection. You're no longer their emotional mirror. You're no longer the outlet for their projections. Recognize the game, understand it, then refuse to play. Machiavelli's wisdom isn't just for rulers and politicians, it's for anyone seeking freedom from emotional manipulation. By disappearing, by reclaiming your silence and your space, you strip away the tools others use to control you. You create boundaries that others cannot cross without your consent. If this revelation hits you, comment, "I'm done playing," and start walking away from manipulation. Your peace is your power. Guard it fiercely. Silence isn't retreat. It's presence, amplified. When you stop reacting immediately, when you choose to hold space instead of filling it with words or explanations, you step into true power. You no longer react, you respond. On your terms. This shift is subtle but profound. Instead of being pulled into chaos, you become the calm in the storm. Your silence is a signal that you control your energy and your boundaries. It tells others you are not a playground for their drama or demands. This kind of silence disarms the predictable games others play. It creates mystery, respect, and a natural distance that keeps you protected. Distance that keeps you protected. Machiavelli knew that power was as much about what you don't say as what you do say. When you choose strategic silence, you're not shutting down. You're tuning in, listening, observing, and conserving your energy for what truly matters. This is where strength lives, not in constant noise but in deliberate quiet. The next time you feel the urge to over-explain or react instantly, pause. Ask yourself, is this response protecting my peace or draining it? By mastering this pause, you reclaim your sovereignty. If you're ready to own this power, comment below, "I control my silence." This is where your true strength begins, when silence becomes your greatest ally. Comment below, "I protect my energy." This is the part where we stop being predictable and start being powerful. Choosing to protect your energy means committing to yourself. It means no longer answering every call, no longer chasing after those who only show up when it's convenient. It means valuing your time and peace more than the approval of others. This commitment isn't easy. It will challenge old habits and push you to stand alone sometimes. But it's necessary for your growth and your freedom. Every time you protect your energy, you reinforce your boundaries and teach others how to treat you. Machiavelli knew that respect is earned by controlling your presence, not by being constantly available. This is your moment to say, enough, to decide that your peace matters more than temporary approval or avoidance of conflict. If you're ready to take this step, type, "I protect my energy" below and join the movement of those choosing sovereignty over chaos. Together, we are stronger. Together, we reclaim our power, one boundary at a time. This isn't loneliness. It's sacred space. The space you create when you step back from the noise, the expectations, the constant demands. At first, it may feel like emptiness, like you're losing people or support. But what you're really losing are the roles you were never meant to play. The caretaker who always says yes, the fixer who always has the answers, the emotional punching bag who absorbs everyone else's pain. Sacred solitude is the quiet ground where transformation happens. It's where you begin to hear yourself again. Your true desires, your real needs, your authentic voice. This space may feel uncomfortable, even lonely, but it's necessary. Because healing is not about filling the void with distractions or people. It's about sitting with the discomfort, the silence, the uncertainty. Only then can you rebuild stronger, clearer, and more aligned with who you truly are. Machiavelli's wisdom teaches us that power often requires solitude, distance from the crowd to gather strength and clarity. So don't fear the quiet moments. Lean into them. They are the sacred space where you reclaim your sovereignty. If you feel called to embrace this solitude, comment, "I embrace my space" below. You're not alone in this journey. We walk this path together, finding strength in sacred solitude. You don't chase, you don't explain, you don't shrink. You've become rare, whole, unforgettable. This is your rebirth. After the silence, after the boundaries, after the sacred solitude, you emerge stronger. You've shed the old roles that no longer serve you and stepped into a new identity rooted in self-respect and power. You are no longer available on demand. You no longer bend to others' expectations. You are the author of your own story. This transformation is not about perfection or pleasing others. It's about honoring yourself, your needs, your time, your energy. Machiavelli's insight into power was clear. Control your presence, and you control your fate. You have learned to wield your silence as a tool, your absence as a message, and your boundaries as a fortress. This new version of you is not fragile or weak. She is resilient, intentional, and deeply whole. You're unforgettable, not because you scream the loudest, but because you carry your energy with fierce dignity. If you resonate with this transformation, comment, "I am whole" below. This is your moment of integration, where all the pieces come together and you step fully into your power. You are no longer who you were yesterday. You are reborn. If you made it this far, you're ready. Ready to be misunderstood. Ready to be alone. But finally, ready to be free. This journey isn't for everyone. It's for those who choose themselves over approval, peace over chaos, sovereignty over convenience. Write in the comments, "I choose myself." Let's see how many of us are walking out of the fire together. Because true freedom comes when you stop chasing validation and start honoring your own truth. This is where you build a new community, not based on codependency or constant availability, but on mutual respect and self-sovereignty. So if you're ready to walk this path, claim it now. Type, "I choose myself" and stand tall in your power. We are not alone. We are rare. We are unstoppable.